Hey everybody, welcome to topic number 9, add and subtract fractions. So in topic number 8, we talked about how to find the least common multiple or least common denominator. So we're going to use that here as well. All right, so when we add and subtract fractions, the very first thing is always find the LCD. Then we're going to find the equivalent fraction using the LCD. In topic number 8, why I show you how to find how I show you increase the numerator. Once you find the LCD, increase numerator, then you can compare the numerator. So that's the same step. We're gonna do that here. And then once we find the equivalent fraction using LCD, we will simply just add and subtract the numerators. So let's take a look. LCD between 9 and 5. Okay, I'm adding here. LCD between 9 and 5 got to be 45 because there's no one number on the outside can go into both 9 and 5 at the same time, except 1. So one go into 9 times, one go into 5 times. So when I multiply all the numbers on the outside, then my LCD will be 45. All right, so I'm going to write two fractions here. All right, 45 is my new LCD. So now step number 2, find the equivalent fraction. So go from denominator 9 to 45. I got the times by 5. So in other words, I'm making my 7 over 9 5 times as large. So that means my numerator will also times by 5. That will give me 35. 5 will go into 45 times by 9. So my numerator times by 9. So that will be 27. Okay. Reduce to the lowest term. So if my answer is improper fraction, I don't have to turn into mixed number. It's okay. Sometime on your homework, it will tell you to turn into a mixed number, but here we can keep it as improper. So 35 plus 27, so that will be 62 over 45. So reduce to a lowest term simply means now, by looking at my answer, can I reduce it? Okay, so remember, I don't know, 62 is not on the timetable, but 45 is. 45 is under 9 times 5. 5, I know 5 cannot go into 62, so I cannot reduce by 5. 9 does not go into 62, so I cannot reduce by 9. But inside of 9, so if you think about prime factorization, inside of 9 is 3 times 3. So the question is, can I reduce my 45 and 62 with 3? The answer is no, because 6 plus 2 is only 8. 3 cannot go into 8. 3 cannot go into 62. So that's how I know I reduce to a lowest term. I have to try all the possible scenarios. Think of a number that can go into both of them. All right, let's try this one on the right. 45 and 21. I have no idea what the LCD is, so I'm going to put it right here on the side and work it out. Like I said earlier, with 45, I know 3 can go into 45, right? So I'm going to try with 3. 3 going to 4 1 times. If you subtract, that's 15. So that will be 3 going to 15 5 times. 3 going to 21 7 times. And there's no one number can go into both 15 and 7 other than 1. So now I got to do this big old multiplication here on the outside. All right, 3 times 15 is 45. So now the problem becomes 45 times by 7 in order to find my LCD. This is 35. 7 times 4 is 28 plus 3, which is 31. So my LCD is 315. Ooh. Okay, so let me show you a trick that I showed you before, kind of prevent us to do too much work. So the question is now, 45 will go into 315 how many times? So what does my 45 got to multiply to become the 315? See the 45 in the original problem? It got to multiply by what? See the 45 right here? The 45 can be 3 times 15 is 45, right? So that means the only number left is that 7. So I can times by 7. If you don't believe me, you can try it in the long division. Okay? Do y'all see here the 3 times 7 is 21? which is the same as the second denominator. So the only number left over is 15. So 21 will go into 315, 15 times. Excuse me, yeah. 21 will go into 315, 15 times. So my numerator times by 15. So 15 times 15, no idea what it is. 5 times 5 is 25, carry 2. 5 times 1 plus a 2 is 7. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. So that will be 5, 2, 2, 225. All right, so 225 plus the 14. So 9, 3, 2. 239 over 315. All right. Try another one. Okay, this is very important problem. Whenever we are adding or subtracting between a whole number and a fraction, we can use the same trick with the mixed numbers. Remember, what is a mixed number? A mixed number, such as 2 and 5 over 9, is nothing but a whole number plus a fraction, right? So how do I turn mixed number into improper fraction? Well, we take the denominator times the numerator, which is 18, plus the what? Plus the numerator, which is 23 over 9. There you go. So that's my answer. Now, most of the time, what most of the students see is write 2 over 1 plus 5 over 9. And then find the LCD between 1 and 9, which is still 9. 1 going to 9 9 times, numerator times by 9, which is 18. 9 going to 9 one time, numerator times by 1, 5. Still 18 plus 5, 23 over 9. So most of the time when you see me take a whole number, add or subtract a fraction, you will always see me, treat the problem just like convert mixed number into improper fraction, because the operation in the middle for mixed number is addition. All right, I can actually use the same trick if the problem would have become 2 minus 5 over 9. Same thing. 2 times 9 is 18. This time I don't add. Instead, I will subtract. 18 minus 5, 13 over 9. There you go. So when do I write the whole number as over 1? When I multiply or divide. Okay, when I add and subtract, I use the trick. Okay, I use the ancient Chinese secret, as I call it. I use that trick to help me find the answer quickly, which is take the denominator times a whole number. Okay, then I will add or subtract the other numerator to get my answer. All right, let's try this one here on the right. LCD between 15 and 10, I believe it's 30, so I'm not sure. If you're not sure, try this. Find the least common denominator on the side here. Let's break it down. One number can go into both of them is 5, which is give me 3 and 2. There's no one number can go into 3 and 2, so let's multiply all the numbers on the outside. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 3 is 30. So my LCD is 30. So if you know the LCD is 30 right away, you can just go ahead and start. 15 going to 30. Increase 2 times, 11 times by 2 as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm making my problem because my denominator now is twice as large as the original denominator. So my numerator got the times by 2. All right, 10 going to 33 times, numerator times by 3, which is 9. 22 minus 9. Let's see, about what? 13 over 30. All right, try a couple more. Oh, I see right here. I actually wrote the same problem down right there. I just erased it, right? Denominator times a whole number. 18 minus 5. 13 over 9. Yeah, I already did it. All right, LCD between 40 and 8 got to be 40. Remember, LCD got to be bigger than the two number we started with, or it can be equal to the largest of the two number we started with. So the LCD here is 40. All right, 40 going to 40 one time. 31 times 1 is 31. 8 going to 40 times by 5. Numerator times by 5, which is 25. My answer, 6 over 40. But 6 over 40 can be reduced. Okay, you always got to try to reduce. Okay, earlier the 13 over 30, 13 is a prime number, cannot, so that means you have to use 13 going to 13. But 13 cannot go into 30, so we stop. But 6 over 40, 6 and 40 can be reduced by 2. So my answer, 3 over 20. Okay. All right, real quick. When we add and subtract, so this is coming from the homework. I just want to talk about it real quick. When add and subtract fractions with different denominators, okay? If you have two different denominators, just like the example we just did, what is the first thing we always do? Reduce before multiply is the first thing you do when we multiply a fraction. Times by the reciprocal is actually the second. The second step when we divide fractions, or maybe the first step too. First step when we divide fractions, because the right away you gotta say times reciprocal. So you got to be finding LCD. Finding LCD got to be the first step. Okay, when we add or subtract fractions. All right, perform the following: addition and subtraction and reduce to the lowest term. Make sure y'all find the LCD first, and then increase your numerator before you add and subtract. Okay, and then try to reduce it. Again, whenever you enter a fraction answer, you got to use the graphical equation. Okay, you got to use that graphical equation feature inside the D2L. I don't want to see student write the answer is something slash something. Okay, I need y'all to begin to learn how to use that graphical equation feature inside the D2L when you enter your answer. All right, so I will conclude this video on add and subtract fractions. Thank you for watching.